Did you know that Bram Stoker's Dracula was inspired by a real historical figure? A man so brutal, so ruthless, that his cruelty could chill your blood even today, centuries later. This man was Vlad III, also known as Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula. From his chilling methods of punishment to his unyielding rule, prepare to step into the shadows of history as we unearth the dark secrets of this enigmatic figure. Get ready for a ride through the annals of history that are darker than the deepest night. But before we do that, welcome to Night Tales, the history channel that tells a story of the least explored part of history. Our story begins in the medieval city of Sighissoara, situated in the heart of Transylvania. The year is 1431, and a child is born in the noble house of Dracula. His name is Vlad III, but history would remember him as Vlad the Impaler, the inspiration behind Bram Stoker's infamous Count Dracula. But this infant, swaddled in silk and cradled in a silver crib, is oblivious to the dark destiny that awaits him. Vlad's father, Vlad II, was a member of a secret fraternity known as the Order of the Dragon, an assembly sworn to defend Christian Europe against the encroaching Ottoman Empire. He was bestowed the nickname Dracula, meaning dragon, and his son, Vlad III, was hence called Dracula, son of the dragon. But little did anyone know, it was a moniker that would take on a far more sinister meaning. Vlad's childhood, like many of his station, was a blend of privilege and rigorous education. He was trained in warfare, politics, and the sciences, but it was the tales of heroic knights and their noble battles against monstrous foes that truly captivated young Vlad. These stories, full of valor and violence, would unknowingly shape the man he was to become. But his life of comfort was disrupted at the age of 11 when he and his younger brother Radu were sent to the Ottoman court as hostages, a political strategy to ensure their father's loyalty to the Ottoman Sultan. Life in captivity was a shock to young Vlad. The opulence of the Ottoman court was a stark contrast to the stark reality of his status, a pawn in a deadly game of power. This was a harsh lesson for Vlad, but it also steeled his resolve. He observed the ruthless politics and cunning strategies employed by the Ottomans. He also witnessed their military might, their terrifying siege weapons, and their brutal methods of punishment. It was here that Vlad first encountered the grisly practice of impalement. His younger brother Radu, on the other hand, adapted well to life in the Ottoman court, earning the nickname Radu the Handsome, and becoming a favorite of the Sultan. This stark contrast between the brothers further fueled Vlad's resentment towards the Ottomans, a resentment that would later ignite into a blazing fury. By this time, Vlad returned to Wallachia in 1448, following the assassination of his father and the death of his older brother at the hands of local nobles. He was a changed man. The fires of vengeance were now burning in his heart. However, reclaiming his father's throne was not going to be an easy task. With a hardened heart and ruthless determination, Vlad clawed his way to power, employing both cunning and brute force. His rule was marked by a crackdown on the boyars, the very nobles who he believed were responsible for his father's and brother's death. Vlad understood that to secure his reign, he needed to control this powerful class, and he did so with an iron fist. His reign was brutal and harsh. He began to implement a series of laws designed to strengthen the economy and increase military might. Vlad was a stickler for honesty and order. He severely punished thieves and criminals, often resorting to impalement, a form of execution that would become his chilling hallmark. But his first reign was short-lived, lasting only 2 months before he was ousted by rival factions supported by Hungary. But Vlad was not a man to be defeated easily. He spent the next 8 years gathering support and plotting his return. In 1456, Vlad launched his assault on Wallachia, successfully reclaiming his throne. He was now Vlad III, the rightful ruler of Wallachia, but his heart was set on becoming so much more. A ruler whose name would command respect and instill fear. And so began the reign of terror of Vlad the Impaler. Vlad was a strict ruler, his laws draconian. He focused on building a strong military, reinforcing his castles and strengthening the economy. But it was his method of dealing with enemies that earned him his infamous nickname. Vlad was a staunch believer in order through fear. His favorite method of execution was impalement, a slow and agonizing death that served as a powerful deterrent. Criminals, traitors, or anyone who dared defy him met this gruesome fate. His cruelty was not reserved for his subjects alone, but extended to his enemies as well. The Ottoman Empire, now under the rule of Sultan Mehmed II, was expanding its territories. As a symbolic refusal to pay tribute to the Ottomans, Vlad impaled the Sultan's 2 envoys. This act of defiance marked the beginning of a brutal campaign against the Ottomans. Vlad led several successful raids into Ottoman territories, leaving a trail of destruction and impaled bodies in his wake. His ruthless methods were effective, instilling terror in the hearts of his enemies. But this reign of terror was not to last forever. Stay with us as we venture deeper into the dark history of Vlad the Impaler. What awaits us is a forest of the impaled, a chilling testament to Vlad's brutality and the eventual downfall of this infamous ruler. Will we ever unravel the mystery surrounding his death? Let's find out. The year is 1462, and Vlad's resistance against the mighty Ottoman Empire had reached its zenith. Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, had had enough of Vlad's defiance. He mustered a large army and set out to crush Vlad once and for all. But Vlad was not a man to be underestimated. He knew his army was outnumbered, but he also knew the land and the power of psychological warfare. As the Ottoman forces marched towards the Wallachian capital of Targoviste, they were met with a sight that would make even the most hardened warrior shudder. Vlad had created a forest of the impaled, a gruesome spectacle of 20,000 impaled Ottoman prisoners. It was a chilling display of defiance and a clear message. This would be the fate of anyone who dared invade his lands. The sight was so horrifying that it is said to have made the Sultan himself say, "I cannot take the land away from a man who does such marvelous things." Despite the psychological victory, Vlad's forces were still vastly outnumbered. His brother Radu, who had sided with the Ottomans, was sent to Wallachia with an army of his own. Faced with insurmountable odds, Vlad was forced to retreat, and Radu claimed the Wallachian throne. Vlad sought assistance from the King of Hungary, but instead of aid, he found himself imprisoned. For 12 years, he languished in the Hungarian dungeons. In 1476, Vlad was released, and with Hungarian support, made one final attempt to reclaim his throne. He succeeded, but his victory was short-lived. Later that same year, Vlad was killed in battle. However, the circumstances surrounding his death are shrouded in mystery. Most believe he fell in battle against the Ottomans, but some say he was assassinated by his own men. His body was reportedly decapitated, and his head sent to the Sultan as a trophy. As for his burial, it's believed that he was laid to rest at Snagov Monastery. But when his supposed tomb was opened in the 1930s, it was found empty. Thus, the life of Vlad the Impaler, the man who inspired the legend of Dracula, ended in a mystery as chilling as his reign. Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula, was a man of many contrasts, a ruler, a warrior, a terror, a legend. His life was a complex tapestry woven with threads of power, fear, violence, and defiance. And even after 6 centuries, his legacy continues to intrigue, horrify, and fascinate us. So there you have it, the bloody saga of Vlad the Impaler, the real and diabolical Dracula that history tends to forget. He was a man whose life was marked by a ceaseless struggle for power, a brutal reign of terror, and an underlying resistance against his enemies. Yes, Vlad was ruthless and cruel, a ruler who instilled fear into the hearts of his subjects and enemies alike. Yet he was also a leader, a tactician, a man fighting against the tide of a powerful empire, and a prince defending his land and his people. History, as they say, is written by the victors, and Vlad's story is no exception. His cruel methods of punishment have overshadowed his efforts to protect his throne and his people. But the question remains, was Vlad the Impaler a bloodthirsty tyrant, a strategic leader, or a bit of both? At the end of the day, we may never truly know. What we do know is that his story, entwined with the legend of Count Dracula, continues to captivate us, a chilling reminder of a man who turned his name into a symbol of terror. Vlad's life is a testament to the complexity of human nature, a demonstration of how a person can be both a hero and a villain, depending on the perspective. His legacy, both fascinating and frightening, will continue to intrigue us for centuries to come. That's all we have today at Night Tales. If you found this video interesting, leave your thoughts in the comments about this chilling part of history. And don't forget to subscribe, as we will make more videos like this in the near future on Night Tales.